Adolescence is a time when youth gain more independence in their beliefs and lifestyle choices, like whether to embrace their family's faith or traditions. These, according to Mott Poll, may trigger tension and conflict in some families when opinions about spirituality clash. But with the revolution that is happening now, looking close to home, I see teenagers who will do anything to take the gospel higher. Hello and welcome to Let's Talk. My name is Oluja Kemusaku. My guest is Adefolarin Fowosire, National Teens President, Redeemed Christian Church of God. Thank you for coming on the show, Adefolarin. It's nice to have you here.
Well,
Thank you once again. All right,
thank
and
you
to
so
you
much,
viewers,
Njoke.
okay. And to you viewers, please remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you haven't done so yet, please do, as your support is graciously appreciated. Thank you. Once again, Adefolarin, thank you for coming on the show. It's nice having you again. Now, what is spirituality?
Okay, I feel spirituality is basically you enjoying yourself. Spirituality to be spiritual, basically you enjoying yourself as a spiritual personality. Basically, you enjoy yourself as a spiritual person. So, spirituality is a system of learning to be spiritual, a system of being spiritual. Now, we all understand that we have different realms in the sense that we have the physical realm, that's the normal realm, and we have also the spiritual realm, that is the higher realm. So spirituality is you being in engagement with this higher realm called the spiritual realm. So you are tagged to the you are tagged with spirituality when you are engaging in spiritual activities with the spiritual realm.
Now, let's talk about spirituality and identity as a teenager. These are two things. When as a teenager, you're trying to find yourself. You're trying to know who exactly you are or are going to be. And having to now go through this personal discovery as in the aspect of spirituality. How do we blend this together? How do they work?
All right. I feel, should I say, I believe, well, I'm still a teenager by the grace of God. And I believe that one of our great mistakes as young folks, one of our great mistakes as teenagers is to believe that you are too young to be spiritual, or to believe that we are still young, we are still in our teenage, and we should just enjoy our life, basically. That is not all. Your everything about the life, everything about the world is spiritual. Everything is spiritual. Your education is a spiritual system. Your finances is a spiritual system. Literally every single thing you can experience in life is spiritual. So why will we think that the age range while we're still young should not be counted spiritual? Now, as a teenager, you have the tendency of we have the tendency of living. We have the tendency of being feeling like we are superimposed to being Christians. You get, so we are getting information like, oh, I don't need to be all spiritual. It's kind of fanatic to be all spiritual and all, but then that is not just it. It is an intentionality on our own part to be extremely spiritual. Now, yes, you are young. Yes, you are just growing. Yes, you want to enjoy yourself. You want to enjoy your life and a lot of other things like that. But then if you take spirituality outside of it, then you literally see that every single thing disappears. Now, okay, an example is you going out, for instance. Well, God is helping us in Nigeria. We understand the security state of Nigeria, and God is helping us. Now, to move from a certain location to another location in Nigeria, you need to pray that anything bad will not happen to you. So if you are not spiritual with that, kidnapping is not something so hard. It's just you entering an unknown car and then just being whisked away. So we enter different buses, we enter different bikes every single day of our lives without knowing the driver. We just assume the driver is the driver. Then if we are not spiritual enough to have covered ourselves in the place of prayers, then there is nothing stopping the influences of the devil over our life by just them whisking us away. But then if we are looking at it in that sense or in that manner that, oh, I'm still young, I should be vibrant, I'm still this, I'm still that, then literally we are going to spend the rest of our life looking like what we should not have, or looking at a system that we should not have entered into. So spirituality as a teenager or spirituality as a young person is something that is necessary. Yes, it might be difficult. Yes, it might look like, oh, everyone is against you, or it seems like nobody loves me, or everybody's trying to impose what I don't want on me. Should I really be spiritual? What do I need this for? I'm still young. I don't have problems. Well, breaking news is that as of now, the devil is extremely intentional about the young ones more than the adults, because they still have a lot in front of them. I still have a lot of years that I'm yet to handle. I still have a lot of things I'm yet to conquer. I still have a lot of places I'm yet to get to. So if the devil can only capture me, God forbid, now, then it can capture an entire generation with me. It can capture an entire people I have to influence with me. It can capture relatively every single person around me, because I can influence them positively. So yes, you are young. Yes, you are a teenager. And yes, you need to be spiritual. Spirituality is not for the adult ones. Spirituality is not for the ones that are old. It is an intentional thing you need to come into as a young person.
That's really powerful. I most times we'll just find ourselves doing stuff when it comes to religion or spiritual things. Growing up, you know that your mom or your dad just pull you, let's go to church, let's go for Bible study,
Mm-hmm.
let's go for Sunday school.
Yes.
You do not have a say. But as soon as the time start coming in where you get to the point of adolescence, now you feel, oh, I have a
Mm-hmm.
choice. I don't want to be here, but you're taking me there and all. Or maybe on holidays when you feel you should be playing, that's when you do different. You go to church like almost almost throughout the week. Now, how do we express this looking at the present time? With you as the national team's president, what would you say has changed?
Well, I think to an extent, we degraded very serious, and we degraded. Now, while our parents were in their own teenage, or how should I put it, I think they have a lot of people telling them, oh, you have to do this, you have to do that, and all like that. You have to be this, you have to be that, you have to follow to church. There is this like there's this constructiveness they have with them that shows them that necessarily you have to be in church. they don't they don't they don't have to move to that level of oh, so if you are raised in a Christian family, you have to be in church. You just have to be in the church. But then nowadays, I think we have a lot to play on our part as parents. That's one, and on the part as teenagers, so we have to be intentional about ourselves. But then I feel there is too much space we've given to the teenagers, in the sense that we don't have to force him to accept who is not. We don't have to. No, you have to force it. Spirituality, you force it. You don't tell us that you don't. If you don't feel like going to church, oh well, yeah, that's fine. That's okay. No, it is not fine. It is not okay at all. It is unintentional of the parents to look at the child and tell the child that you can freely decide what you want to do with your life. Yes, you can decide what you want to do with your life, but when it pertains to spirituality, parents need to be intentional about telling their words and telling their kids that now, if I say you want to go to church, you have to go to church. While I was growing up, I think one of the things that really helped me was that I have a mom who takes me to church. She made it compulsory. So you don't stay at home during your Tuesday services, you don't stay at home during your Thursday services. Sunday services, you are used to it already. So when you wake up in the morning, your plan is that you brush your teeth, you carry your clothes, you wear your clothes, and then instantly the next thing is church. You don't think twice. You don't think, oh, I'm sick. Even when you are sick, you go to church. When you get to the church, you get your healing in the church. Even when you're not feeling fine, you get to the church first. You get to the church, but then after the church service, they can now whisk you away to an hospital if you are still not fine. But then our lives right now is as if we've taken spirituality and our intentions about the Christian journey to be lackadaisical. So we want to do it when we feel like we want to do it. We want to do it when we feel, oh, today I think I need prayers today, or something is not wrong, something is not right with me, so I feel I need prayer. So we want to pray because there is a need, there is a desire, there is a want from the Lord. So if there is no desire, if there is no need, we don't want to pray. We don't want to deal with our personal life God should not be someone you approach because you need something from him. God should be someone you approach because you love him, you revere him, and you reference him. So you're not approaching God because, God is approached. God is a personality that needs to be approached. God is a personality I must always go to because I need something. God is not a bank that you just withdraw money from any single time. God is a personality that is interested in your relationship with him. He needs you to build a certain relationship with him. He needs you to understand that there is need for you to be in a close synergy with him. So our lives as Christians, from the age of our parents, has degraded. We've suddenly moved from the Christianity to the modern Christianity. So you can see a Christian wearing a crop top to church, and you're like, you are meant to cover your body, and like, oh no, this is modern. This is Gen Z. This is a new realm. This is a new thing now. No, no, no. Nothing changes. The word of the Lord. The Bible told us that the word of the Lord is now, today, and forever. His word never changed. So his act and actions too do not change. So if you are a Christian, if you are a young person, you are not meant to change. You are not meant to. I'm not saying you should all be this all the system of you looking at something like, oh, I want to be all Christiany and you just want to put everything on big. No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that you should not I'm not saying that you should not be involved with people, not that. But then involved that is not in spirituality with God is nonsense.
All right. So
And
how
then,
and
okay,
when, I'm interested in this part actually. How
okay.
and when did you give your life to Christ?
Oh, okay, that should how and when did I give my life to Christ? I gave my life to Christ 2014, December. It was a camp out. It was a camp out, yes, a camp out. And everyone has, I gave my life to Christ when I was about 6 years, but then, we're still young. I really don't understand what I did. Everybody called, it was like an emotional splitting, and everybody was like, oh, emotions jumping around. So I was like, oh, if you guys should do these things too, everybody's running outside. Let me run outside. So I ran outside. But then my giving my life to Christ really came alive in me when I was at a camp out about 4 or 5 years ago. Yes, a December camp out. So I saw a young boy just like me on the altar, preaching the gospel, um, praying in the Holy Ghost. That was what caught my attention. I was here to pray in the spirit then. So when he was praying in the Holy Ghost, I was like, oh, so young boys can do this too. Wow. And then as he prayed, I could see the movement of the spirit all around. You could see people like falling under the anointing, some people confessing, some people crying. I was like, oh, so if this small boy can do this, I can do this too. So I was like, okay, let me be intentional about what I'm doing now. Let me get serious with my life. So I became serious, and it went on from there, and I became intentional about my work with the Lord. Prayers, fasting. I joined groups. I joined the church. I became a worker in church. I became committed to saying that I not only love the Lord, I became committed to saying that I not only want the Lord, I became committed to saying that I not only want from what He has to offer to me, but then I'm having something to offer to me in return too.
That's powerful. Let's quickly go on this break. We will be right back. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, the program is Let's Talk, and I'll be speaking with Adefolarin, Fowosire, National Team's President, Redeemed Christian Church of God. And it's been wonderful so far, sincerely. It's been great. It's been very, very exceptional, and I would want you to continue with us even as we journey through. You are the national president of Teens Ministry in RCCG. And I must say that I
Yes,
have
ma'am.
seen the impact you're making in the teens' lives. How has the journey been, and what is your driving force?
Well, when we started out, when we're elected into office, about 2 years ago, yes, about 2 years ago, um, I really did not know how to start because I'm a teenager. Like I'm just coming to this position for the first time in my life, and I'm like, oh, how do we do this? This thing seems too hard and all. Then uh, the Lord provided for us a system of people who would train us and help us become better. That is the Directorate of Teens and Children Education for RCCG. They helped us work through the journey properly and help us achieve what we need to achieve per time and per season. Now, how has the journey been for me personally? Well, I was not the same person that started this journey. I became better. I learned on the journey. I learned while moving. I learned to be a better listener. I learned to be a better looker too. I learned to watch people the more. I learned to be intentional about people. I learned by example through the leaders that I've followed that, oh, there are some things you can't just do as a leader. There are some lives you can't just live as a leader. There are some certain way you can't move as a leader. You have to be fast, you have to be sincere, you have to be transparent, and a lot of other things like that. Yes, it was difficult at first because as teenagers, you have to learn a lot of new things. You have to learn how to relate with your elders. You have to learn how to relate with people that you don't know. You have to learn how to relate with people in authority. You have to learn how to relate with people that are just, just growing, and you're like, okay, how do I place this? Yet, while I'm still a teenager, while I'm still a student of a certain school, when I'm still a student, I'm still in work and I'm still learning too at the same time too. So I just have to learn that priorities matters. That's one of the main things I learned. Priorities matters. So when I'm meant to be in church, I'm not in school. When I'm meant to be in school, I'm not in church. When I'm meant to read, I'm not sleeping. When I'm meant to sleep, I'm not reading. So that way I was able to learn to balance it all and then still work well, even in my leadership capacity.
That's great. That's really, really worth listening to. Now, having to deal with teens, how has it been?
Well, teenagers. I think the better phrase I can use is that teenagers will always be teenagers, like young ones will always be young ones. Well, I'm still teenagers by the grace of God. So basically, because I'm still myself, when I see some of my teenagers exhibit a certain behavioral pattern, I just smile and I was like, okay, I understand you are still young. I understand you're still a teenager. So I get why you want to be like this at times. I get why you want to behave like this at times. But then that is not just all. You need to understand that even as a teenager, you are still a believer. Even as a teenager, you are still a Christian. So yes, you might have some certain challenges, some of them, and they're like, oh, well, you can't talk to me like this. I'm like this. I'm still a young person. So I'm like, oh no, I'm not saying you're not young. I'm not saying you're not that or what you are, but I'm trying to tell you that even as a teenager, you should still learn to understand that you are still a believer too. Now, I think I did not answer your question the other time. That was my driving force. When I look at myself as a teenager, I see that there is more to myself. So that's what I do. When I deal with them, I have this mentality that there is more to you being a teenager. So I don't deal with you on the basis of you being a teenager. I deal with you on the basis of what I see in your future. So I see that you're going to be great in future. I see that you're going to be someone that will capture a lot of souls himself in future. So I begin to make you live as if you're in your future. Now, one of the things my spiritual father always tell me is that you don't plan your future. You don't plan your future in the future. You plan your future in your present. So now that you are in the present, you begin to plan for the future. So you don't live as if you are never going to get to your future. You don't live with the mindset of, oh, let us leave it to the future. No, I live from now as if I'm living in my future. So I know that one day I'm going to stand in front of a million congregation. So I begin to practice now. What will I say if I stand in front of a million congregation? So that tilted my mindset to say, oh, even as a teenager, I need to live better. Even as a teenager, I need to live right. And the same when I look at them, the experience has always been beautiful because I see them as someone who can be better, even as a teenager.
Mm. Now, let's talk about parents. We mentioned it earlier. For parents who desire and are praying for their teens to burn for Jesus, do you think there is a missing link? If yes,
Mhm.
what can we do to help? Because you are fortunate. You said your mom took you to church. Yes, but there are some moms that are trying to take their teens to church, but it's not working.
One thing our parents need to understand is that our age range tends to be rebellious at times.
But what would you advise all of these teenagers?
Teenagers, young ones out there, my advice to you is actually very simple. I'll take my advice from the book of First Timothy chapter 4, First Timothy chapter 4, chapter 4, verse 12. The Bible told us that let no man despise thy youth, but be thou an example of believers in words, in conversation, in charity, in spirit, in faith, in purity. Again, let no man despise thy youth, thy young age, but be thou an example of believers in words, in conversation, in charity, in spirit, in faith, and in purity. So it is a very simple thing. You are an example to all believers. That you are young makes you an example. So believers should learn from you because you are young and because the Bible told us that you are an example to all believers. In what? Number one, in your conversations, you must be an example. What words do you say? If Jesus decides to highlight on your WhatsApp or your Instagram, will he be saved? Number two, in charity, how well do you give? Number three, in the spirit, are you in the spirit? Are you in sync with the spirit? Are you spiritual? Number four, in faith, your faith life, how well can you qualify your faith life to be? Number five, in purity. In purity, are you pure? In words, in deeds, in action, in conversation, are you pure? Can the Holy Spirit find expression through your words? Are you pure? So young ones should learn to understand that you are an example to others. You are an example to the adults. You are an example to every single person around you. You are an example. So set yourself as an example. Live as an example that you are. And the Lord will continually bless us in the name of Jesus.
Mhm. Thank you so much, Fowosire. It's been wonderful having you.
Thank you so much, Olujoke.
And thank you too for being part of the show. I hope that you've been able to learn something from this wonderful man of God. If I would say, it's been wonderful for real. And you can always share with your teens to actually listen to this video in particular because there is a lot to learn. A child can get born again or give his or her life to Christ at any age. It doesn't matter. All that matters is God is in his life and God is taking over. Until next time, when I come your way again with another exciting topic, I remain Olujoke Misako. Bye for now.